everybody, welcome to the Dreamer's Edge podcast.
I'm Nicholas. I write video games reviews for thedreamersedge.com.
And I'm Dimitri, webmaster of thedreamersedge.com and movie critic and television critic. Which is relevant because we're continuing our week-long discussion of the television grid with Wednesday.
Yeah, indeed.
So let's start right away with something I like to call show and tell, and that's when we recommend, stuff for you, this time television shows.
I recommend the show Curb Your Enthusiasm. Very funny show with Larry David. He's the creator of Seinfeld. The character George is based on him, and it's his life exaggerated. Basically, very bad thing happen to him, even though he doesn't mean it. And it's very funny. It's like really uncomfortable funny. Like you feel very bad for the guy when bad things happen, but it's really funny. It doesn't have a lot of replay value though, because when you know it's coming, you kind of feel very bad ahead of time, and you're like, okay, I can't watch this. So the replay value not great, but the first time you watch the episodes, they're really, really funny.
Yeah, I don't like it as much as many people do, but I'm going to recommend a little horror show. It's Millennium. This is a show from the 90s, and I thought I'd recommend it now because 2012 is looming, and Millennium was all about the end of the world coming our way. They thought it would happen in the millennium, but we all knew it would happen 12 years later, because we follow the main calendar, or rather their production of it, as a guideline to our lives.
Indeed.
So Millennium is about this guy who is a consultant for the FBI. He specializes in hunting down serial killers, and he discovers that through it all, that all these serial killers and this madness is connected to the oncoming end of the world and demons trying to ruin the earth and cause the apocalypse.
The Mayan calendar had demons?
It's a Chris Carter show. It was sort of a companion piece to X-Files.
Yeah, it was a very good show. I remember it.
Frank Black is the main character, and he's played by Lance Henriksen, who, of course, most people know now as that guy who keeps showing up in original sci-fi movies.
But he's always awesome.
I would say watch the first 2 seasons and consider the end of season 2 the end of the series, because that's how it was intended, and then they got like this sort of last minute renewal, and the writers went like, we don't know what to do. And the season 3 was really limping into oblivion slowly.
Wow, that's bad.
Yeah. Alright, let's talk Wednesday. On Wednesday, what can you expect from television this fall and winter? Well, on ABC, you get a slew of sitcoms. I guess ABC's Wednesday is CBS's Monday, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
So we got The Middle, which is a sitcom on its 3rd season, sort of kind of like The Office with the faux documentary style, but about the middle class.
Everybody's doing that now, the full documentary thing. I guess The Office was great, so let's do exactly the same thing.
Well, it does allow narrative cheats, because a lot of times you can derive comedy from characters acting a certain way but really thinking something else, but it's hard to convey what they're really thinking.
Yeah.
But now they can just cut to the person telling you right in front of the camera.
I did not even notice that show. It's been on for 3 seasons. Yeah, well, 2 seasons already, you tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Did not even know it exists, so I can't really say much about it. It's probably very low key.
It seems to be moved up to 8, though, in order to sandwich a new show called Suburgatory.
Awesome title.
Oh, I thought you were going to describe the premise. I guess I'm going to do it.
I forgot the premise already.
Dad finds that his daughter has condoms, terrified that she's engaging in sexual activity, so moves his kids from New York, the city, to suburbia to start over and protect them from the nastiness of, growing up.
What an effing idiot.
And that's the premise of the show. Obviously, Suburgatory, I imagine, is suburbia and purgatory put together, I guess. Very difficult title to pronounce.
Yes, and a very hard concept to accept for me. It's just, that's not fun. That's not something that's funny to me. It's, all right, you're taking your kids that had their lives in the city, and, we're just going to move to suburbia because, they have no lives. They don't have anything happening with them. I'm the father. I'm going to decide we're doing this.
Well, he is a father. He should be able to decide what he does for his family.
Yeah, but for good reasons. I mean, that's just ridiculous. The girl is going to have sex in suburbia as well, whether he likes it or not.
Well, she's going to have... Well, that's the thing. That's the weird thing about it. Because in reality, she would have more sex in suburbia than the city. Because in the city, there's stuff to do. In suburbia, there's nothing to do. So people hook up.
Yeah, that's true. So the premise is completely wrong. I'm not going to watch that.
Yeah, well, when you read the press releases, it's very hard to tell whether or not the show acknowledges that he's doing the wrong thing or not, and I think that would be a key information.
Indeed, yes.
By the title, I imagine that they know that he's doing the wrong thing.
Yes. Will he figure out he did the wrong thing, though, at one point, you know?
It's funny because the premise, without talking about the tone, reminds me of a drama from the WB back in the day called Everwood, where a father essentially does that after his wife dies
Yeah.
and moves them all to like this very, very small town in Colorado.
That premise also made me angry.
But that premise worked because he's a dysfunctional dad. He was a bad dad before his wife died, and he's equally awful after his wife died. And like the fact that he moved them to Colorado is not the worst thing he'll be doing to his kids as the series progresses.
Okay.
He is a bad father who, with the best of intentions, is hurting his children.
Okay.
And that was part of the Everwood premise. And if they try to treat it the same way with Suburgatory, it might work, but I don't see how you can pay that off in the half-hour sitcom format.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to be harder.
Yeah. Indeed.
So that's Suburgatory. Oh my god, that's so hard to pronounce. Suburgatory. And at 9 on ABC, we got Modern Family. Now, I know you feel very strongly about Modern Family, which has reached its 3rd season.
It's not a show I really am fond of. My friend showed me an episode. All it was like a big family fighting between each other. I did not find it funny at all. They tried to show me part of a second episode, and they started by fighting again with each other. I don't find families fighting constantly funny. I don't see how that's a sitcom. It's just an annoyance to me. It's not a funny show. It's a show I hate.
But there's 3 families, though, isn't there?
No, I didn't get what the families were from the whole premise of it. That's a bunch of people that hang out together that keep yelling at each other. That's what I got from it.
Okay. I didn't dislike it nearly as much. I caught a couple of episodes. Nothing in it that hooks me. Nothing in it that makes me want to see. I want to see that again. But again, family sitcoms are I'm sort of done with that. The 80s and 90s are so full of them that I'm sort of like I've seen my share for a lifetime or two.
I'm not saying that the show should go Full House, okay?
Yeah, so as our feeling is Modern Family. I think we'll stay with your feelings on it, mostly because I'm so indifferent towards it. It exists.
Yeah,
Modern Family, that's a show that exists.
I guess.
And is followed at 9:30 by Happy Endings.
Yes, if I remember correctly, it's about a divorce or the separation that happens during a wedding, and the friends have to deal with that. Very weird. Again, separation is always a funny topic. Not a premise that interests me, really, and I didn't see any commercials for it, so I don't know what to expect.
Well, it's on its 2nd season, and it's weird because I never noticed it either.
Well, there you go.
Then again, I don't watch ABC all that often. ABC doesn't have the sort of programming that's been attracting me ever since they Lost.
I guess.
But yeah, whatever, man. It's divorcees doing stuff. I thought that was called Cougar Town. Apparently,
Oh,
they're not divorcees in Cougar Town.
no, they're not.
They're just
They're just cougars.
yeah, exactly. They're just older.
Actual cats that go.
They're just grown-ups.
Yeah.
They're just grown-ups going after sex, and apparently that's hilarious.
Yeah, because when I think cougar, I think Courtney Cox.
Well, you know, she's not young anymore.
She looks young. I mean, they could have cast somebody that looked older.
But she's
Yeah,
a very good-looking woman. That's
Yeah.
why she looks young. But...
I guess. Yeah.
And then at 10 on ABC, we got Revenge.
Actually looks interesting. A woman that something happened in her community when she was younger. Something bad happens, I guess, to her family. She moves back in, and she plans to get revenge on everybody that did her, harm. Looks very interesting. I don't know how long they can keep that premise going, because I don't know how many people she's going to need to take revenge at, but eventually you're going to go through the whole town and have nobody else left. But that looks interesting. I'm going to give it a try.
Well, it depends also if because if they stretch out the revenges, where it's not like one revenge per episode. Let's say she has 30 people to get revenge on, and she only does 5 per season. You got a lot of seasons going.
That's true.
If her revenge is very elaborate. And if her revenge is very elaborate, it's actually going to be more exciting because she might decide halfway go like, oh, my perception of you was wrong. You're not that bad of a person. And then like try to undo her own very convoluted and complicated plans could be kind of funny and
Yeah,
fun.
that would be very interesting.
I think it's a good premise. I think it's fun. It's not something we've seen before. And I like Emily Van Camp. I have to say, I like her. She's a young Canadian actress. After Everwood, she sort of went into a lot of B movies and horror films. But
Yeah,
nice to see her come back after Brothers and Sisters. I think she had a regular role in that.
I think so. It's weird though. Like guess the 10 o'clock cutoff is like okay, we laugh beforehand, and now all of a sudden we have this revenge thing. That's really does not seem like comedy at all.
Well, it's probably going to have a little bit of a dark comedy
Yeah,
stuff to it
I
because it's
guess.
such a kooky premise.
I guess so.
But besides that, I mean, at 10, that's when you stop being family friendly, right? Because
I guess so. Yeah.
if you're a family that cares about family friendliness, your kids should be sleeping right now. You know? All right, then. CBS. Well, old reliables for CBS. At 8, we got Survivor on season 23.
Yeah. Survivor would be funny if they actually were forced to survive and not being given all that stuff, you know. Not I don't like that show. It's okay if you have nothing else to watch and you just put it on, and even then it gets annoying.
Yeah, it's my problem with it is that it's underhanded. I don't think we should take too much time on it because I know that we'll be recording a episode on reality TV.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking probably about that a lot more
Indeed.
because it is one of the first reality TV shows. So let's move on to 9 o'clock on CBS. We got Criminal Minds, season 7.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one. It's a straight up cop show scene. They don't do as much investigating with like gimmicks and stuff like that. I don't feel it's
Well, their gimmick is psychology.
yeah, that's not a real science, so I'm not interested.
I don't see how that's not real science, but
Because it annoys psychologists when you say that.
okay. The thing that's interesting about it is that they removed AJ Cook last season,
Oh, really?
and her character was the best. What she was is something you've never seen in any other show. She is the PR woman who handles liaison with the other agencies. So, you know, they're FBI guys who come up and go like, we're going to do this and do that and do that, and saying that to the local authority. Of course, the local authority is going to be a little bit reluctant and feel a little bit threatened by that.
Yeah.
And her job is to smooth that out, and she does all the communications with that. It's such an original concept, and I sort of like that aspect of it because it is a show about the psychology of police work. So
Yeah.
having a character whose job is to deal with the psychology of internal
Yeah.
police relations was a really great concept, and they removed her.
They're not going to replace her at all. They're just going to have.
They tried to replace her with Rachel Nichols as this ex-victim of a serial killer who survived and joined
Okay.
the team and all of that. Essentially the same role that she played in The Inside, a short-lived TV show from Fox.
Okay.
It didn't work out, I guess. So they're bringing back AJ Cook this season. And I'm kind of psyched about that because I was like, why did you remove her? I lost interest as soon as you did. She was the best character.
Okay.
All right, so that's Criminal Minds. At 10, we got CSI Crime Scene Investigation Season 12. Interestingly, they finally moved it from its very comfortable spot for 11 seasons, which was Thursdays at 9.
Yeah.
And now it's reached a 10 o'clock slot, which I think it has always been more appropriate
On a
for
Wednesday.
CSI.
Yeah.
But on a Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Since the bug guy left, that show's been kind of boring.
You mean Grisham?
Grissom. Yeah, I really enjoyed Grisham and, you know, his interaction with his team. He left. They replaced him, but no, it's not the same.
I lost interest even before when he started his romance with
Sarah Seidel.
Sarah Seidel.
Yeah.
I never bought into that storyline. I always thought that was a very odd coupling, and so I sort of gave up around that because again, it's a procedural. I'm sort of more interested in the procedural aspects of the relationship aspects
Yeah.
to begin with, and also the science in CSI Crime Scene Investigation is awful.
They've gotten better.
Have they?
They're not as funny, you know. The stuff they keep using, you know, it's over and over. Like this image has 4 pixel, enhance it, and you know, oh look, the killer's this guy. Yeah, that doesn't work that way. But they repeat the old stuff that people are used to. I need this DNA test. Oh, I'll have it in 10 minutes. You know, it's like, okay, you know, it's funny, but you know, you're repeating the old jokes. You know, so it's not as funny.
Season 12. Come on, it's time to end that.
Indeed.
All right, NBC. We start with Up All Night.
Yeah, did not like the premise of that show either.
What is that?
Basically, it's a couple that they just have a kid, and they have trouble sleeping, and that's all you get from the commercials. But you learn later on that it's because they're trying to keep on their regular lives, going out with their friends and partying and stuff like that, while still having a kid, and that's why they can't find time to sleep. That's ridiculous.
No, I think that's something new parents go through all the time.
Nah, from all the friends I've had that have had kids, they knew when you know the wife was pregnant that okay, party's over, when have to be, you know, a little more relaxed. So them wanting to keep on partying and everything while they still have a kid just kind of irks me a little bit.
Well, look, that's supposed to be where the conflict is derived from and where the comedy goes from it. Again, with comedies, I don't believe that characters should do what's right because that's not funny.
Yeah, but it's very weak. Their solution is very simple: sleep.
Well, no, because then they can't be up all night.
I mean, but the main thing that completely killed me is you have commercials for that, and the commercials aren't funny. If the commercials aren't funny, that's the number one sin for me for sitcoms. I'm not going to watch a sitcom if the commercials aren't funny.
Well, you keep saying that, but what's funny for one person is not necessarily funny for the other
Yeah,
person.
I know, but like I said, I'm not saying nobody should watch a sitcom. I'm saying I'm not going to watch it because the commercials aren't funny for me.
Yeah, I haven't watched well, I haven't seen, I should say. I haven't seen the commercials for it. But I gotta tell you, just the premise is not that interesting to me. And here's why. Because the kids are gonna grow up. And then what are you gonna do?
Well, they get to sleep at least when I don't know. I don't get it.
Because when it's still a baby, as long as you don't shake the baby and you do feed the baby properly,
Yeah.
that's not that bad. That like, oh, I want to stay up all night and have a party, and I'm leaving the baby with the nanny. Like, okay, fine. But when they grow up and the kids start having, emotional issues and attachments and whatnot, and you're still going like, I want to go party. It's like it's been 4 years, and A, you still haven't figured out that you can't, and B, now your kid is actually taking it wrong. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be really uncomfortable and weird, and
Yeah.
I don't see how that show has a future. It's the sort of premise that's like, that can last one season.
Can I ask one is maybe I mean, and how funny is it going to be? How long can the funniest last? That they're tired. I mean, 2-3 episodes.
Well, no, but I mean, it's a more. I imagine it's a more general idea than that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
they have to mess around their lives because of the baby.
Yeah.
But
All right, let's move on to Free Agents at 8:30, still on NBC. I know that sitcoms are supposed to be situational comedies, so that Up All Night is a more traditional understanding of what a sitcom is.
yeah,
But I tend to like the ones with more general context, like this one. It's about people of a certain age who discover, that they're not dead down there just yet,
Yeah.
and find themselves free again. That you can derive a number of different contexts from it, and a number of different
yeah,
jokes from
that
it.
can stay fresh for a very long time.
Exactly.
I mean, the premise doesn't really scream at me. Haven't seen commercials for it either, but that's something that could be, I can check out.
I agree with you that it's not really the sort of thing that immediately piques my interest.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, it was for like How I Met Your Mother. I didn't start watching it from the first season because it didn't really pique my interest as well. I was like, okay, it's gonna be about teenagers coupling and stuff like that. But eventually you learn, hey, it's actually pretty good, and you just catch up on your episodes, and that's what summer's for.
Joel, I'm looking at a schedule. I might have time for it. There's nothing going on Wednesday that interests me in the slightest.
Yeah,
So actually, out of them, it might be the one that I might check out because it's a general enough premise that whether or not it works will be entirely on the writer's work and the charm of the actors, and that I can't see from a media release.
I can see that.
It's followed by Harry's Law, the David A. Kelly show, reaching its season 2 now. We had its first season as a mid-season replacement last year.
Yeah,
This is a Kathy Bates lawyer show thing.
I saw one episode. I was so confused. In the commercial, they show her as this tough lawyer that doesn't take crap and everything. And the episode I saw, she was crying all the time. She was like whining and crying, and I don't want to do this, and this is real. And it's like, this is not what the commercial promised.